this was not going to be what was going to take me down. I just knew it. I knew it right down deep in my soul that this was not going to be it for me. And that's what I told my kids too when we shared the news with them. Like, this is just, there is a way forward and this is not going to be it. We were right on the verge of having an empty nest. And so we were thinking about that time in our lives as being able to focus on things for ourselves and things that we wanted to do together. It's a big blow to have that diagnosis anyway, but in that particular phase of life, it seemed almost a little bit cruel in a way, because everything felt very optimistic at that point in time. And then a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer inevitably makes you start to think about life in a very short window too. In the beginning, just like Michele said, it's just this, okay, just so much to digest, and the weight of it, it was quite heavy in the beginning. I was first diagnosed in April of 2021, and it was shortly after the Easter holiday that I started having some symptoms. I already knew I had some risk for pancreatic cancer because previous to being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, I went through breast cancer in 2019. And as part of that diagnosis and treatment for breast cancer, I did go through genetic testing as a result of that. So at that time in 2019, I found out that I had the BRCA2 mutation. So as part of understanding the risk for different cancers as a result of BRCA2, I was aware that pancreatic cancer had an elevated risk. So kind of going back to 2021, when I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, I had some symptoms at the time that I felt like I was kind of looking out for, because I knew that I had some predisposed risk to pancreatic cancer. So when I started experiencing some stomach pain and some fullness when eating really small amounts of food, I pretty quickly, probably within a few days of going through those symptoms, called my oncologist to just have that checked out. And they, again, knowing the risk, my risk profile, they gave me a scan pretty quickly, like within a day or two from that. And that's when we started to find out, okay, there's something on your pancreas. I heard the news on the phone, so I'd had the endoscopy procedure, and we knew something was wrong. We just didn't know how bad it was. But and then the results got posted to my portal, and I'm not the type of person that can hold back from looking at it. So I looked, and I knew what the answer was. And so then the call came a couple of hours after that, and I think that process of reading it on the portal and then hearing it on the phone, it's almost like everything just caved in. I remember writing down words on a piece of paper when I was on the phone, just trying to absorb it, but just thinking, this can't be real. Like, it just felt very surreal. And it just kind of felt like everything, so many questions were swirling around, and just not really knowing what to do next, and not knowing. And again, that weight of time. I think that was the first day in my life I really felt that weight of time on me, and that's still there to a degree, but not as heavy as it was at that time. So it was like this very emotional feeling of disbelief and lots of questions, uncertainty, and feeling all of a sudden like time is something that's a whole different construct. It really was like living in a nightmare at the time. So many things swirl through your mind about trying to understand what has to happen, for diagnosis and treatment, but then also thinking about, what are we telling our family? What plans do we need to make, and what does the future look like? It was a very uncertain, upsetting time. After the beginning, getting through the weight of it all,
we started doing more research, and we started finding out there were positive outcomes. There were, given how quickly they found her tumor, prognosis, she could have the Whipple. It just opened more doors for what could happen in the future in a positive way. So we just started focusing on that. We had the treatment regimen. You have 8 rounds of chemo before the Whipple. Take them one at a time. Take one blood test at a time, one chemo treatment at a time. And Michele, she was great through it all. And just start clicking those off. Then you get to surgery, and then, okay, what do we do post-surgery? 4 more rounds of chemo. I don't want to say it was clockwork, but it was just, okay, just focus on what's next. Don't focus on where we're going to be 5 years from now, or, ahead. So it's just one step at a time.
You kind of have to, I felt like I just had to kind of dive in with some faith into heading into that treatment and know that I wasn't going to ever give up. I was just going to meet that one moment at a time with as much of, I want to say a positive attitude, but at least a willingness to face it head on and do everything I could to kind of meet that one challenge at a time. And sometimes were more difficult than others. Some rounds of chemo were more difficult than others. But every time I went in for a surgery or a treatment, I just tried to face it with a lot of trust in my body to be able to get through it, and knowing that I just had to do this. I wasn't going to give up. This is what's going to happen. We're just going to go through it. I don't get upset about small things in life anymore that maybe would have upset me in the past, because they just don't matter, So I've gained some level of peace and acceptance for things that happen in life. To be able to just spend time with my family and to maybe accomplish some of the goals that my husband and I have for ourselves as empty nesters. And we just traveled recently. We took a trip to St. John, which was something we've wanted to do for a while. So that was a great experience to kind of arrive at that point and realize that we'd been through a lot, and we're able to kind of celebrate that moment together. So more instances like that, and it doesn't have to be a big trip. Just having time together as a family, or spending time here at home in the places that we love to be. That's all I really want.